Welcome. This is Dr. Meet Chauhan, Assistant Professor, School of Management, Sir Padampa Singhania University. Today we will discuss the topic residential status and tax liability, which is under the subject BMF 572 taxation. For the purpose of tax, each and every residential has to identify its status, and according to the status of the resident, the tax liabilities are being calculated. For this purpose, we will start with the residential status today. For the purpose of residential status, the assessees are divided into certain parts. The assessees are normally divided into a single individual person, body of individual, association of person, Hindu undivided family, company, and the other entities. The residential status of the entity depends upon the types of entity. First, we will check it out the residential status of the individual entities. The individual entities in India may be either resident or non-ordinarily resident NOR or non-resident NR. On the basis of these three different residential status, the tax on these three persons will be calculated. For being a resident, a person has to satisfy at least one basic condition which is required to be fulfilled and two additional conditions, and both must be fulfilled. Non-ordinary resident will be the person who satisfy at least one basic condition, and he may satisfy either one other condition, or if both the conditions will not be satisfied, then he will be non-ordinarily resident. While in case of non-resident, non-resident should not satisfy any of the basic condition, and if he fulfills other condition or not, it will not put any impact on the types of the entity. Now let us check about the conditions which should be fulfilled for being a resident in India. The basic conditions, there are two which is given under section 6.1, while additional conditions which is given under section 6.6 is as under. The first basic condition says that assessee must be in India for a period of 182 days or more in the previous year, while the second basic condition says that assessee must be in India for a period of 60 days or more during the previous year, and total 365 days or more during the year immediately preceding to the previous year. So, if any of the condition is being fulfilled by the assessee, it is being told that basic conditions are fulfilled. In the two basic conditions, the word or is being given. That means if only one can be fulfilled, it is treated that basic conditions are fulfilled. In case of additional condition, there are two additional conditions which says that assessee must be resident in India for 2 years out of 10 preceding years. Now, the another condition which is there, but the or word is used here, and in case the assessee will remain resident, both these conditions should be fulfilled. The second condition is that assessee must be in India during the previous 7 years for 730 days at least. In case the assessee fulfill any of the condition, these I am making chart here to show it to you that what will be the situation of the person in case of these three conditions are fulfilled or not. For a person being resident, for a person being non-ordinary resident, and for a person being non-resident, the situations or the conditions which will be fulfilled, that will be if basic condition first is fulfilled, basic condition second is also fulfilled, basic condition first is fulfilled but second is not fulfilled. Similarly, if the basic condition first is not fulfilled but second basic conditions is fulfilled, then it is treated that the assessee has fulfilled the basic condition. So we will look at the additional condition thereafter. If the assessee will fulfill the first additional condition and second additional condition, he will be treated as resident. In case non-ordinary resident, the basic conditions will remain same as for the resident, like assessee should fulfill first condition and second condition, or assessee fulfill first only, or assessee fulfill second condition only. But in case of the additional condition, either the first condition is fulfilled and second is not, or first is not but second condition is fulfilled, means either one condition is being fulfilled. And in case of non-resident, the first condition and the second conditions both are not being fulfilled. If these two conditions were not fulfilled, then there is no meaning, it is not required that the assessee has fulfilled any of the additional conditions. So additional condition will not put any weight. If assessee fulfills any of the basic condition, both the additional condition, he will be resident. If assessee fulfills any of the basic condition but not both the both the additional condition, he will be non-ordinary resident. And if the assessee fulfills both, assessee is not fulfilling any of the basic condition, then in that case it will be treated as assessee is non-resident in India. For the purpose of Hindu undivided family, the control and management of Hindu undivided family is the base by which we classify the Hindu undivided family into the three parts. The Hindu undivided family will be treated as resident in India if the control and management of the affairs of Hindu undivided family, or in short it is called HUF, is situated wholly or partly in India. Either wholly or partly in India will be treated that resident, the Hindu undivided family is resident. If it is situated fully outside the India, we will treat it as a non-resident HUF. And in case the Hindu undivided family's Karta is non-ordinary resident in India and he fulfills the conditions of non-ordinary resident in India, in that case the HUF may be non-ordinary resident in India. So the same conditions which is being applied on individual is also the base for calculating the residential status of Hindu undivided family. Let us check out the residential status of a company. The company will be the artificial person and its residential status will also be defined on the basis of its control or management of its affairs. If its control is situated in India, wholly or partly from India, it will be treated as an Indian company. Not only that, we also will check it out that the company is registered and is being made under the Indian Companies Act, or it is made under the Foreign Companies Act, which is made by outside world. So if the companies are being incorporated in India and if their control of affairs is in India, then company will be called as resident, while in other case company is told to be non-resident. In case of company, there is no situation of non-ordinary resident. If we check about the other associations like association of person, if association of persons business is being controlled from India, it is treated as the resident, or if control of affairs is situated fully outside the India, then it will be treated as non-resident from India. Now we will be checking it out one or two examples so that it will make us clear that whether the person or the entity is resident in India, how we calculate the residential status of the entities, and later on we will be checking it out that how we write the answer of the questions which is being given here. Now let us start with the question number 1. The question number 1 says that Steve Waugh, who is an Australian cricketer, means who is basically from the Australian origin, comes to India for 100 days every year. Now if we have to find out his residential status, first we will have to write the basic conditions and the additional conditions. The basic condition number 1 is that SSC should remain in India for 182 days. While in case of Mr. Steve O, he remains in India for 100 days in the last year. So this condition cannot be fulfilled. Number 2, the SSC must remain in India for 60 days in previous year plus 365 days in 4 preceding previous year. Since it is been given that SSC is in India for 100 days, that means in the previous year he was in India for 100 days and thereafter 1 preceding year, 2 preceding year, 3 and 4 preceding year he was also in India for 100 days each year. So which fulfill that previous year condition of 60 days plus 400 means the condition of 365 days. So this condition, the second one, has fulfilled by the Steve O SSC, and we will treat that the basic conditions, which is out of the 2, he has fulfilled 1. So basic conditions were fulfilled. If we check out the additional condition, there are 2 additional conditions. Number 1, the SSC must be in India and must be resident for 2 out of 10 previous years in India. Now SSC cannot be the resident in India till he will fulfill the second condition. The second condition will make us clear more because he is in India for 100 days in each year. The second condition says he must be in India for 730 days in past 7 years preceding to the previous year. And since he is coming for 100 days only in the 7 years, he will be in India for 700 days. So this condition cannot be fulfilled in any of the year. If this condition cannot be fulfilled, this may also not be fulfilled, and then thereafter we have to give the answer by saying that since the SSC fulfill basic condition but an additional condition one additional condition has not been fulfilled, second has not been fulfilled, so the SSC will be called non-ordinarily resident in India. So this will be the way by which we will judge the residential status of a person. If a person is coming in our country for a particular day in per year basis. Now since the question says that he is in India for 100 days each year, so the calculation process may become easier. But that is why I have also included the question number 2, in which we have to calculate the number of days for the SSC for the period for which he will be or he was in India. For this purpose, we will check it out. The question number 2, which says that Mr. C.A., a Japanese citizen, left India after a stay of 10 years. So which means that he was in India for 10 years, continuously for 10 years. That means he may fulfill these 2 conditions. But let me check it out by going ahead. And he left India on 1/6/2012. During the financial year 2013-14, means preceding to the previous year, he comes to India for 46 days. Later he returns to India for 1 year on 1/10/2014. So we have to check it out that how many days he was in India in the previous year and in the past 4 previous year. So let us check it out with the help of these conditions which is written here. To solve out this question, we will have to start calculating and by writing the previous year first. So I am writing it here. The previous year for this SSC was started from 1/4/2014 ends on 31st March 2015. This is the previous year for which we are calculating for this SSC. Now, when we calculate the residential status of this SSC, we should check it out that how many days in the previous year he was in India. So if we check out the second last line, he returns to India for 1 year on 1/10/2014. So that means on 1/10/2014 he left the country, and that means that for that period we have to check out his number of days when he was in India. So we will just check it out the months and the period for which he was in India. So first we will be checking it out for his period from the first from the 10/10/2014 to 10/10/2014 to 31st March 2015, which will be in the previous year. For this purpose, we write the number of days he was in India for the month of October, which is of 31st day. He was in India for 21 days. For the month of November, he was in India for 30 days. For the period of December, he was in India for 31 days. Similarly, for January, February and March, he was in India for 31 days, and this is the March 2015, so it is of 28 days, and last March 31 days. So the total number of days when he was in India was 172 days in the previous year. So the SSC who was in India for previous year 172 days is, we can say that there are two basic conditions, and out of the two basic conditions, first basic condition of 182 days was not been fulfilled by this SSC. So that is why we need to check out the second basic condition, which says that the SSC should be in India in the last year for 60 days, but for 4 preceding years he should be in India for 182 days. Now let us check out, this is the period of 2014-15 when he was in India for 172 days. Before that, for the previous year 2013-14, 2012-13, 2011-12 and 2010-11, we need to check out the number of days after this, that if it is 365, we can say that the conditions, the second basic condition was being fulfilled. For this purpose, we again read it out the question, and it is given that he was stay in India, and he was stay in India for 10 years. He left India after 10 years on 1/6/2012. So 1/6/2012 is in this year. So here we will calculate the number of days, while here he was in India for 365 days, and here he has left the India on 1/6. So we will calculate from 1st April from 1st April 2013 to 1/6/2012. So here I am writing that for what period we are calculating his stay. For 1/4/2012 to 1/6/2012. This is the period for which he was in India, and in the previous year he was in India for 46 days. Now if we calculate 4th month, he was in India for 30 days. 5th month, he was in India for 30 days. So 61 plus 1, 62 days he was in India. And if we calculate the total, the condition which is of 365 days have been fulfilled, which means that the assessee who was in India